Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? All right, great. Thank you for being here today. This is the Burlington is Back presser with Mayor Emma Mulvaney-Stanak. Just a quick reminder about the kind of our press conference etiquette. We will take questions at the podium after the presser, after everyone speaks. Let's keep the questions just focused on the content of the presser. If you have other topics you'd like to talk to the mayor or one of the department heads about, you can find us afterwards and we can arrange that for you. All right, thanks.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm so glad it's not raining on us. Or snowing. Not yet, thanks, Doreen. Wow. It is Vermont, come on, we're all used to that. Anyway, good morning and thank you all for being here this morning. And what a fun spot to get out of City Hall for a minute and be here on Church Street instead of our typical conference room in the bottom of City Hall. I want to thank Mark Bouchett for hosting us here on his front lawn here at Homeport. Really appreciate that, Mark, thank you. And today is about something that many people in Burlington are starting to feel. It's about momentum. Over the last few months, I've heard from residents, from business owners, from visitors, and from local Vermonters who have been cheering this city on through both its challenges and its successes. There's a growing sense that Burlington is turning a corner, that energy is back, the confidence is returning in this city, and that this city is moving forward. That's why we're here today to say something that many people are already experiencing themselves. Burlington is back. There we go, yes. We still have challenges, of course, to address, and we will continue to meet them head on. But it's important to recognize how far we have indeed come and the progress that is happening across the city. Because there is so much more to the story of Burlington than some folks realize, and today we want to proudly share it with all of you. This summer has already provided some powerful reminders of what makes Burlington so special. Downtown Jazz kicked off summer season with packed streets and thousands of people enjoying the downtown together. I heard from countless residents who said that this was one of the best ones yet in terms of Jazz Fest. And I heard business owners say that this was one of the best weekends in years. Thank you to BCA for leading jazz performances up and along Church Street. Thank you to the Flynn and for putting all the programming on at the Waterfront, much of which was free, and also, of course, the programming at their theater. That showed what a true team effort really looks like. Throughout the summer, Burlington will host a strong lineup of events that bring people together, support local businesses in our downtown, and showcase the energy of this community. We have over 100 plus free events that you'll hear more about today from our speakers. And in our fiscal year 27 budget, we've invested $1 million on events, on programming, on marketing to make sure that our city puts our best foot forward. At the same time, we're seeing meaningful progress in community safety. Under the leadership of Chief Shawn Burke, the police department is steadily rebuilding. We are recruiting police officers and a new police chief for the city. Already, we have received a dozen applications or so for our chief of police, and our partners, the International Association of Chiefs of Police, IACP, is actively reviewing those applicants. And I want to emphasize, there's Google. People are Googling our city, and we have such a strong showing of 12 applicants willing to apply to be the chief of police for the city of Burlington. Next up comes a hiring committee with a number of community members and city leaders who will do a first vetting of those applicants for me as mayor. And then per charter as mayor, I will select the final candidate for chief, and then we will have confirmation by the city council. Next week, we'll announce who's on that hiring committee. I'll say one quick person, Mark, back here, MVP here, has agreed to serve on that hiring committee, so we have a strong business voice from downtown. And I hope by August or September to be bringing that candidate forward to the community. But community safety requires more than policing alone. And that's why we've invested in broader community health and safety, a strategy that combines outreach, prevention, behavioral health, and partnerships. It's beginning to make a real difference in our downtown. This is the second year in a row that we've done a historic investment in the Howard Center for their street outreach program, and further investments in City Circle and the Situation Table, which I've spoken from this podium about multiple times. We're seeing progress in other areas as well. Our parks, our beaches, and waterfront are clean, beautiful, and ready for the summer. After a long winter and years in which these spaces have reflected some of our community's most complex challenges, that doesn't happen by accident. Just this spring, our team removed 11 tons of trash from the urban reserve to reset for the year and to make sure we could do some ecological repair on the downtown. Look at our youngest Burlingtonians, they're walking by. Sorry, kid moment, everybody. Hi, kids, come on over. But this work is really incredible because it reflects the city staff and community partners who are committed to keeping these spaces great assets for our community, and I thank them for their work every day. Our innovative CEDO team is unlocking new housing, including important new developments at Secord, because we know creating more homes is essential to Burlington's future. And just today, the VFW posts are also opening today down the street. And just last week, Burlington High School students marked two important moments. Celebrating graduation at the brand new high school. Please go check it out. It's really quite amazing. I'm not underselling it. It really is amazing. They also celebrated saying goodbye to the Macy's downtown location. Those students led a vibrant parade right here down Church Street, all around City Hall, and then landed in City Hall Park, and basically had a big celebration. And it was the best interruption of city business I've ever seen to date as mayor. That prominent site being our high school, the prominent site being Macy's, our former high school, it has an important role in the life of this city and downtown center. And as we look ahead, I am hopeful its next chapter will serve this community's needs and add to the energy and vitality of our downtown. Those moments capture something important about where Burlington is right now. We are investing in our future, embracing new possibilities, and creating opportunities for the next generation, while staying grounded in the values that have always defined this city. That is how we build a Burlington that is both forward-looking and unmistakably Burlington, by being true to our values as a city that include community, livability, and belonging for everyone. Our work has always been highly visible in recent years, including big major infrastructure projects that have now shaped our city and will shape our city for future generations. The Great Streets Main Street project and the Champlain Parkway are generational investments in Burlington's future, helping ensure that the city remains livable, welcoming, and sustainable, with room to grow for housing and strong downtown. For years, we talked about what they could mean, and now we're beginning to see the benefits. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our speakers. I want to first say that two of our speakers were unable to join us for a last-minute conflict that came up. They are the owners of Bar Renée, Alex and Clara Leopold. And I wanted to share a little bit about their story because I think it's a great example of the grit of local businesses here in our community. We all know that opening a first business is a true leap of faith under any circumstances. And Alex and Claire, the owners of Bar Renée, took a leap in the middle of the Great Streets Main Streets construction project. This required patience, creativity, and resilience. And they faced those challenges with a steady, practical outlook and a true, deep belief in Burlington's future. In fact, when they launched, Alex said that they were, quote, here to create joy and more life in downtown. Here to create joy and more life in downtown. As the construction wraps up on Main Street and Main Street actually emerges renewed, we look forward to the next chapter of downtown, one in which Bar Renée will help lead the way, bringing energy, community, and new life into the Main Street corridor. With that, I'm going to introduce our first speaker who is here, Mark Bouchett, who has been one of Burlington's most steadfast champions of the downtown. As co-owner of Homeport and the commissioner on the Church Street Marketplace, he has been a trusted leader in the business community and a tireless advocate for the vitality, vibrancy, and unique character of our center city. Mark's enduring belief in Burlington has helped shape downtown through both good times and challenging times. His leadership, enthusiasm, and commitment to community continue to inspire those who live, work, and invest here. Mark, thanks for being here today.
Thanks, Mayor, for that kind introduction. Good morning, everyone. I know that normally I speak extemporaneously, but this message was so important to me, and this topic is so important to me, that I wrote it down because it's important to me to get it right. So I apologize in advance for reading, but here it is. This is about, Burlington is back. And it's not just back, but we're building a new Burlington. We're building the future Burlington, and that's as or more important. This is exactly why businesses like Outdoor Gear Exchange, Golden Hour, Harbor Threads, Flora Fauna, Xenia, Homeport, of course, and so many others, I'm sorry I didn't mention your names, have preserved through these challenging times. We trusted that our community, our city government, and our neighbors in the surrounding towns would recognize that downtown Burlington and Church Street Marketplace were too valuable to leave to circumstance. So here we are, taking the early steps towards Burlington's bright new future. And there's so many bright spots on the horizon. We have the completion of the Main Street project, along with the Department of Public Works commitment to giving downtown an opportunity to heal and thrive. The opening of the Bank Street apartments behind here, along and the North Building poised to come online soon. They'll bring new energy and residents and investment to the heart of the city. And a city budget crafted by Mayor Mulvaney-Stanak and approved by City Council that even in lean times dedicates resources to additional police department foot patrols. That's a clear demonstration of their commitment to the safety of our residents, workers, businesses, and visitors. It's been a while. If it's been a while since you visited downtown, now's the perfect time to come see what's happening, experience the momentum, discover what's new, and be a part of Burlington's bright future. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mark. All right, next we're going to hear up from Sam McGinnis, who is our Church Street Marketplace Director, and she'll be joined by our BCA, Burlington City Arts Director, Doreen Kraft, and Erin Moreau, who is the Waterfront Division Director and Harbormaster. Ask me more about that. Actually, ask them more about that Harbormaster role, who is filling in for our Parks Director, Phil Lewis, who is traveling currently. So come on up, team. Yeah.
Today is about celebrating the momentum we're seeing across downtown Burlington and throughout the Church Street Marketplace. There is a visible shift on Church Street. We're seeing renewed energy, increased foot traffic, packed events, thriving outdoor spaces, and tremendous community engagement. Burlington's business community has shown incredible resilience over the past several years, and now we're starting to see the rewards of that perseverance. This summer, Church Street is packed with events and activities designed to bring people downtown and create memorable experiences, like Passeggiata, Party on the Bricks, Sidewalk Sale, in addition to our Amplified and Festival of Fools in partnership with the BCA, and building off of Spotlight 250, Spotlight 250, building off of Parks' July 3rd festivities coming up just next week. Outdoor dining at patios, live music, entertainment, and fun showcase the incredible spirit of Burlington along the marketplace. This summer is a reminder of what makes Burlington special. Local businesses, vibrant public spaces, arts and culture, people coming together. Burlington is entering this summer with tremendous momentum.
Oh, nice.
Doreen?
That's truly exciting, right? Like, all of you have your faces sort of looking down. I want to see those smiles. Like, can you imagine what this means for our community? Yeah, I like that. Thank you. Beautiful. So it's a joy to be here today with you. Summer in the City, which is our event that brings together all the teams in the city, is here to showcase Burlington at its best. From June through September, there are more than 100 events, all free, across downtown and the waterfront, with events every day during the height of the season. This is truly a collaborative citywide effort. Burlington City Arts is proud to partner with Burlington Parks and Recreation and Waterfront, the Church Street Marketplace, Love Burlington, the Fletcher Free Library, the Office of Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging, REIB, and the Burlington Electric Department, and of course, all of the community organizations to create a coordinated summer experience, celebrating the arts and music and culture that make our community shine. Concerts, public art events, festivals, exhibitions, and family activities bring our public spaces to life. They transform our streets, our parks, our waterfront, and our welcoming spaces that invite people to come and to create their own communities, to connect, to enjoy this great city. Signature and annual events like the Festival of Fools, which this year is July 31st through August 1st, draws thousands and thousands of people to our downtown, creating a joyful shared experience while supporting local businesses and contributing to the vibrancy that this active downtown core has been so proud to celebrate over so many decades. Summer in the City is what makes Burlington unique. A vibrant arts community, accessible public art spaces, and culture that values creativity, inclusion, and belonging, and that sense of always coming together. You can find the whole Summer in the City lineup at loveburlington.org or Summer in the City. Thank you so much. Erin.
Thank you. Let's have some fun this summer. I'm excited. Please join us in celebrating our country's 250th year of independence. This year, our celebration hosted on, of course, July 3rd. Fun fact, Burlington always hosts on July 3rd to give our smaller communities in Vermont the day of July 4th. So sometimes we say July 3rd, but we really do mean Independence Day. We will spotlight a local company, Beta, with an aerial parade before our fireworks this year from 8 to 9 p.m. And we'll be celebrating past, present, and future of aviation. And so it's going to be really exciting. Find your spot along the waterfront and downtown spots so you can see the skyline and enjoy the aerial parade before the fireworks this year on July 3rd. We also have many nights of waterfront concerts returning back to the waterfront. We have concerts we enjoyed 2 in June for Discover Jazz. And then we have a series in late July, in early August, and again in September with our local artist of Grace Potter hosting 3 nights of concerts to round out our summer season. We also have Beach Bites kicking off this week on Wednesday at Letty Park. Beautiful views of Lake Champlain. I'm a little partial to that. They're letting the Harbormaster be up here, so I'm gonna plug the lake as much as possible. But Beach Bites is a lot of fun, great food, local vendors, and live music. We hope everyone joins us in the New North End, another wonderful and fantastic place to be. Speaking of water, our beaches are open. Thank you to our grounds team who cleared a lot of our beaches, cleaning them up of driftwood that comes in the winter. They are looking absolutely spectacular right now. And if you want to know before you go the conditions daily, head on over to our social media at BTV Parks. We have live updates of all of our beaches daily for you. We also have a few things that, in our quiet times that you may want to come down and go down to the Burlington Community Boathouse. This marina is open to the public. It is not a private marina. It is Burlington's own community marina. And we invested some really wonderful deck furniture. So you can come down, you can picnic, you can watch the best location for the sunset. We also have Pomeroy Park will have a grand reopening this summer. So we hope that you join us for that. And let's see what else we got here. We have a wonderful slate of programming for recreation. So summer camps, if you're not quite signed up for your kids and you're wondering what we should do with those kids this summer, go ahead, look on our website and sign up for some summer camps and some summer fun in our parks. We hope everyone joins us for all of our city partners in enjoying a really wonderful summer here in Burlington. Thank you.
Endless things to do this summer. All right, so next up we're going to hear from our 2 chiefs, mainly Chief Shawn Burke from our Burlington Police Department, but he'll also be joined by Chief Michael Curtin from our Fire Department.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everybody. My name is Shawn Burke, Interim Chief of Police here in Burlington. And obviously, the police department is responsible for the safety and security plan of our downtown and our parks. Joining us in that work this year, we have our Beach and Parks program, 6 employees that are riding bikes and also walking the beat out here on Church Street. They'll be covering the beaches and the paths. We're also being very, very strategic and innovative in how we're using our community support liaisons and our relationship with the Howard Street Outreach team in making referrals to what the mayor has spoken about previously, the situation table, to try to really get at some of the root causes of the behavior that we see downtown that detracts from the experience. And then, of course, we're using our limited sworn staff as well. That includes both our detective services and our uniformed service and command staff members to walk afternoons on the marketplace, to be a presence, to make sure that Burlington feels safe and welcoming to the public. So with that, I'll turn it over to the fire chief right now to talk about their efforts.
All right, good morning. The fire department, when they're not answering calls, they're out training. Matter of fact, we're doing some new disciplines starting tomorrow. We have some firefighters from New York City coming up and teaching us how to do roof rope rescue in a fire situation. So we're constantly being prepared, ready for what the summer brings, and that's what we're up to. Thank you.
And you will also see a lot of our hardworking firefighters. They were helping at the Champlain. Did we call it did the race have a name, Chapin?
The Parkway Mile?
The Parkway Mile, if in case you missed that. It was the one and only time there'll be a race on the end of the Parkway, Champlain Parkway. And we had our hardworking BFD team out there making sure everybody was safe. So thank you to both chiefs. Next up, we're going to hear from Bill Ward, our Director of Permitting Inspections. And you might say, why are you hearing from the DPI Director? And that's because to keep the momentum going, we have to make sure we have good, strong accountability for livable buildings and spaces that are fully activated. So Bill, please come on up.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm here for the other part of the message. The first part of the message, you've heard a lot about perseverance and progress. And there's a few properties that are not making that progress that we want to see. We've tried for at least a year now, focusing on some problem properties. Some of them have been vacant for a while. What you're going to see starting July 1st is a little bit of an escalated strategy. We'll be using a relatively unused portion of the vacant building ordinance to date because we wanted to give people as much time as possible to come into voluntary compliance. But for properties that don't get or don't qualify for a vacant building permit because they don't meet the physical standards, there is a section of Burlington's vacant building ordinance that prescribes notice from the director to those property owners, and then a automatic penalty of $200 a day until they come into compliance by either having a rehabilitation plan, having a for sale or a lease, a document that shows that they are actively for sale or lease, or the demolition of the property through proper permits. So we want all of Burlington to have the same progress that we're seeing and that we've been talking about so far today. But my job in this will be to herd people into that level of compliance and that same positive perseverance attitude, because we are not going to stand by and let those places fall further into disrepair. So starting with an example of a Pearl Street property that everyone knows as the former Bove's restaurant, that's one of the properties that recently had a redevelopment permit, but it was ultimately rejected as incomplete. So we'll be moving forward based on however the property owners proceed with enforcement or the issuance of a permit if they reapply. But we are going to be working really, I would say, aggressively to make sure that those problem properties are not the source of additional problems, and we continue the progress that we've seen and that we're highlighting today. So great things are coming. We'll get these people to comply and to make all of Burlington look better. Thank you.
All right, and to round us out for speakers, we're going to go to our DPW Director, Chapin Spencer.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks so much, everybody, for being here. Burlington is back, and Public Works is proud to be a partner in the Renaissance. I have 3 words for you all: paving, parking, and projects. Paving, thanks to the voters' support in 2015 of the city's general fund borrowing authority, we are paving nearly 4 miles of streets this year. We've paved 10 already, many in the downtown: College Street, Colchester Avenue, Union, Main, and Pearl are underway as we speak. Parking. We manage over 3,000 publicly accessible spaces downtown. But what are we doing to help the business renaissance? Well, for any businesses that have low-wage restaurant or retail workers, we're providing free parking. That has been a great incentive to getting more businesses downtown. In addition, any business that needs a monthly parking pass, we're providing 50% off on those parking passes for the first 6 months. We recognize we have a role in helping downtown's renaissance. And lastly, projects. Thanks to the mayor and many people behind me, we've discussed the 2 projects that people thought may never come to successful conclusion: Champlain Parkway and Great Streets Main Street. Well, we had a great successful Parkway Mile run yesterday, sold out thanks to Run Vermont, and we are going to be celebrating 1 week from today the opening of a 61-year project in development, the Champlain Parkway, providing a new access to our vibrant downtown business community. That is going to be spectacular. I encourage folks to come join us 10 a.m. next Monday. And 2, with Great Streets Main Street. Thanks to people's patience as we did a historic amount of work all the way down from the ravine sewer, 30 feet down, up to the beautiful streetscape and public art that has been developed through a partnership with Burlington City Arts. Great Streets Main Street will be finishing in July, and we will be having a community celebration on the 17th and 18th, all up and down the street. Look forward to having you join. And I will say, as a person who lives, works, and plays in Burlington, as much excitement as there is about the new high school, which is fabulous, I will tell you my daughter and her friends who attend that school are so sad to be leaving the downtown, that they really thrived on being part of this energy here. And we are going to need to keep that energy going with our students being a mile away, and I know we can do it. Thanks.
All right. So taken together, all of these things we've heard here today tell a larger story. A city that is investing in itself, a downtown that's regaining its energy, a community addressing challenges while continuing to move forward, a city with momentum. And I'm incredibly proud of the work that residents, businesses, community organizations, city staff, and elected leaders have done to help bring us to this moment. And I'm even more excited about what comes next. Burlington's best days have never come from standing still. They have come from people working together, believing in this city, and building towards a better future. It has always been about all of us taking a part of bringing Burlington back. It is not the work of one mayor or a group of city councilors. It is all of us being in it together. And that is what is happening here today. And I welcome more people to join us as we continue to do this work together in partnership. Thank you again for being here today, and thank you for being part of Burlington's next chapter. And with that, we'll take some questions. I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, you'll be next. Okay, thanks. Well, specific to youth violence, so we have not seen those kinds of numbers and this summer, thankfully, and Chief Burke can come up and speak to that in a moment. But what I will say in general to Vermonters, and as someone who grew up in Central Vermont myself, Burlington is really an important economic, not only economic center, but the heart of a lot of what people can't get in more rural Vermont. And it is a very exciting place to be, especially as a young person who doesn't have access to things like Jazz Fest or the number of community events that we're putting on this summer. And I encourage people to to really not only come to Burlington to check it out, to see it with your own eyes, and not really lean too hard into sort of an old narrative about our city. I grew up in Barrie, just to be clear, and Barrie itself has had quite the reputation that has been given unjustly to that downtown and to that city. When we do that to each other in terms of being Vermonters, we're not building the kind of community and the values that I talked about before earlier in the press conference. Specific to youth, we are continuing to work really strongly with our community partners like the King Street Youth Center, Boys and Girls Club, and many other providers to provide summer programming throughout. Our library has been a part of this as well, and parks, of course, which provides summer camps. We're trying to make sure those programs are as equitably accessible to families as much as possible, and continue to strengthen our ties. A few years ago, it was specific to some of our immigrant and refugee families were really getting caught up in some of those issues of violence, and so continuing to strengthen those relationships through our Trusted Community Voices program through REIB, and continue to do more trust building with not only our police department, but meaningful program for these youth are some of those strategies that are really important. The chief and I, lastly, have talked a little bit about exploring other cities and how they do more preventative work, violence interruption strategies, specifically coming out of areas of Boston and Providence. Those are the types of pieces we need to continue to do for our young people to make sure they have meaningful opportunities, and to make sure that we're filling gaps that might still remain. Even though, I want to be clear, we have not seen those kinds of numbers and incidences, we still have a lot more work to do preventively with our families and in our community. Chief, do you have anything else to add? Of course not. Okay, great. You asked and answered. Okay, we're gonna.
I know the whole state has seen a huge decline in Canadian tourism. That's really affected businesses downtown last year. What are you expecting going into the summer when Canadians typically spend the most money in state, and how you're trying to combat that?
Yep. Well, I didn't realize I'd become an international diplomat as the mayor of Burlington, but I've been to Quebec multiple times and invited folks to come down as well. Part of what we are trying to make clear, and I'm trying to make clear as the mayor of Burlington, is that the federal administration does not speak for Vermont and certainly does not speak for Burlington. We very much value our interdependence and our relationships we have with our northern neighbors. A lot of Vermont, frankly, is intertwined family-wise and business and commerce, etc. And so we continue to send that strong message up to Quebec and our neighbors, and even into Toronto and other provinces in Canada. I continue to do multiple media interviews whenever asked, and they keep asking, which to me is an important indication that they're listening and seeing what we're doing here in Burlington. And I've bumped into Canadians down here who have specifically said, due to our efforts to be up in Quebec and to be there and to make those efforts to go north, they are returning that reciprocation to come down south and to be part of Burlington and part of Vermont. And so I want more of that. I want to encourage more of that. And again, intentional programming and making sure that we continue to find ways to build those relationships as how we stand on our own 2 feet in terms of our relationship directly with Canada, and not rely on the federal government's chaos for which they continue to make.
In discussions with the city council, especially around stuff like the gross receipts, there's sort of been this conversation in an effort to frame your administration as not doing enough to support downtown businesses. Do you see what you're calling the downtown resurgent as evidence that your administration is listening and doing enough for the downtown business community?
So we're doing a lot of investments in the downtown. I just mentioned before, $1 million in just the programming events, and that's just a handful of our departments, to make sure that we're giving people a reason to come into the downtown. Another commitment I have is making sure Burlington stays affordable for the residents who live here. So part of our use of gross receipts, which is a consumption tax for folks who have more disposable income, is to make sure we're raising revenue smartly and in a balanced way from consumption taxes, as well as from a modest amount from property taxes, which is what residents pay to support the downtown. It's an in it together kind of moment, and we really need to make sure that we keep our eye on the prize in terms of the livability for everyone here in the community. So I'm proud of our work we've done with our business community. I'm proud of the partnerships I've built with a lot of business leaders, continuing to listen to see what we need to do to adapt. Chapin mentioned some of the things around parking, for example. We've adapted a lot around our big projects since I've been mayor to make sure intersections were open during critical parts of the holiday, increased foot patrols. I personally fundraise money for downtown extra security when needed. I think we've done nothing but actually invest really strategically and smartly in the downtown. And of course, we could try to do more, but we have to live within our means and still build a sustainable and affordable Burlington, and that's also what I'm committed to.
Mayor,
we'll go first round, as they do at City Council. First round. Okay, yeah.
The budget was signed into effect for fiscal year 2027. I guess speak a little bit to the money going to public safety and how you guys are investing in that specifically.
Of course. So our police department is our largest general fund budget by far for the city. So we actually expend most of our resources as a community into our police department. I'm proud to say our police officers, we've invested 10 more police officer positions, or funding for 10 more hires for the upcoming fiscal year. Our hope is to hire 5 in the fall and 5 in the spring. That overlaps with the police academy schedule. We also have continued to invest in the other professional staff there, CSOs, which are our non-sworn personnel who can do more low-level enforcement, as well as our community safety liaisons who round that out to make sure that we have additional supports, social work type supports for folks in and throughout the entirety of the city. That work is really important. We also need to invest in the actual infrastructure of our police department, which includes enough police vehicles that actually function and work. So we're investing, our budget includes 5 new police vehicles. It also includes investments into our police department building, for which has sorely needed upgrades for many years. We can't recruit if our facility is not something for which modern day police officers want to, can feel like they can work in and be invested in. So part of this is making sure we invest in ourselves, put our best foot forward for what we need next for our continued work to rebuild the police department. Second round. Okay.
Earlier last fall, the governor and his administration, I think, kind of put this spotlight on crime in Burlington. And I think that narrative has been perpetuated by other influencers, for lack of a better term, like scenic Burlington, beautiful scenic Burlington comes to mind. I'm curious what you think about, you mentioned this unjust narrative about Barry. What do you think about this narrative of crime in the city?
Well, again, yes, about Barry City, for which my parents still live in, and it is a vibrant working class town for which is one of the most affordable places to live in central Vermont. And there's actually, I think Vermont Public did something in terms of a podcast to talk about the history of how damaging it can be when people name a community, frankly, not with a lot of facts and not with a lot of heart about what that means for our neighbors. Vermont is a small state, and this is one of the things I've asked the governor to really reflect on. Vermont is a small state that really requires our rural communities and our more urban communities to stand together when we face really challenging times. No one mayor or no one community is responsible for the trifecta of challenges for which face a rural state like Vermont, but it also faces a lot of communities across the country, including other small rural states like West Virginia and otherwise. And that trifecta is an issue of homelessness, it's the opioid crisis, it's our mental health crisis because of a broken healthcare system. Those are not issues that a local municipality can solve. Those are the issues that state policy must solve and leadership from the governor's office. And so while I was glad that the governor partnered with us last fall, we have a lot more work to do in terms of really making meaningful changes that actually address the gaps in those 3 big areas for which Vermont is struggling, not just Burlington. And so back to Burlington being the largest community in the state, of course we're going to hold a disproportionate amount because we have the most livable community for when someone is suffering, who needs ability to access food and services and basic care. What we need now, though, is stronger partnership from the state of Vermont to support the disproportionate amount of work that it takes and resources that it takes to support folks.
And I know this investment in police positions is a sharp change from this kind of post-2020 era of cutting the police force in Burlington by a trade. I'm curious why you decided to invest in more police officers, why that's important.
So an important part about policing in general is to make sure we have policing that's built on the values and responding to what the community needs, the values of this community. And so rebuilding the police department is being done strategically with the idea of how many police officers do we truly need. I don't think we should have an uncapped number. I don't think that's sustainable for any small community. However, there is a reasonable amount of police officers we need to meet the needs of our community, and we're well below that number right now. So it is responsible and important to invest thoughtfully on a number of police officers that we can actually hire year after year with a smart and revamped recruitment strategy for which the Burlington Police Department has done under the leadership of Chief Burke and his team. So that is part of building a responsive number of police officers, but it also requires a more comprehensive and nuanced understanding of what it takes to really make a community safe. The police chief would tell you, police officers are about reacting to things. It's not about necessarily dealing with the root causes of what sometimes makes people cause more risk risk to themselves and others, and that's why other innovative policies have been brought online under my administration, including the situation table, which brings risk levels down for people who are about to cause harm to themselves or others. City Circle, which is our own accountability system, like a city court, if you will, using restorative practices to address low-level violations of our ordinances, and then also wrapping around with strategic and historic investments in the Howard Center. I was on City Council 20 years ago. We were spending the same amount on street outreach 20 years ago when I was on council than we were the day I walked in as mayor. So making sure we're investing in the kinds of services to rise to meet the challenges we have as a city is how you build a smart, comprehensive community safety system. And because you brought up 2020, we have a lot more work to do around racial disparities and work that we need to make sure we support our police officers and all responders and making sure that we're still doing the deep work that 2020 actually called us to do, which we can't lose track of. You have one other quick one, and then I'll come right up to you.
Yeah, why the focus on vacant buildings in town? Do you see that as a big issue facing the city?
I do, and part of what we have to do is use our entire city apparatus, all departments, to really work on the vitality of downtown. The economic well-being is hampered when you have vacant buildings like the Roxy or Bove's restaurant, and especially when buildings start to fall down and become in such disrepair they become dangerous. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chief Curtin, but we can't even let firefighters go into the Bove's building anymore because it has become it has been allowed to fall apart so much that it's not even safe for first responders to go into that building if there was an actual fire. Part of what we need to have in our downtown is an understanding that when you own property in the downtown, you have to be a stronger partner with the city because we're tied all together whether we like it or not. And I'm inviting property owners to make sure they have higher and better uses of their properties and to work with our SMART team at CEDO and other departments in the city to be able to reactivate those spaces. We're always here and ready to help. We have an amazing team, and now it's really about people stepping forward to do their part.
I have a question for Mark.
Okay.
Hi. You recently opened a new Homeport in Essex.
Correct.
And you have, as somebody who has locations of your business both in here on Church Street and in Essex, often this conversation is sort of framed as, you know, we want to attract businesses to the downtown of Burlington as opposed to having them, you know, give in to the siren call of places like Essex and stuff like that. What do you see as the benefits of both sides of that, and what do you feel is unique about having a business on Church Street?
I mean, obviously this is our main business. This is our building, so we're here for the long haul, and we're dedicated to make it work right here in Burlington, and we love Burlington. This is where we like to do business. But we saw an opportunity to expand what we do and to grow what we do, and we're taking advantage of that opportunity. We've been thinking about this for a decade, so it's not it seems new because we're just doing it now. We're just getting around to finding a location that we like and a circumstance that we like, but growing our business is something that we've always wanted to do, and we're doing well enough here to be able to enter into a venture like this. So this is our home, and we're hoping that this allows us to grow as a business. So that's how we think of it.
It doesn't have to be an either or.
It's absolutely not an either or. We need them both to do very well. Yeah.
Okay, last call.
I have a question. We was talking about City Council last week allocated $150,000 for Ward 3. What's that money going to be used for? Private security, I guess. Can you speak to that a little bit?
So the amount of $150,000 was allocated to Central District, which is actually wards 2 and 3, so it's downtown and the Old North End. That was an agreement we came to with my administration and council to invest more dollars in terms of safety and security. So we're yet to really define that completely, but the idea being that we want to supplement, much like we have in years past, certain critical times of year that are really data informed about when we might need some more hands to make sure that folks can feel safe, but also responding to hotspots. This is a strategy that I began. It's not a strategy I invented, but it's a strategy used in a lot of communities that we weren't using effectively back in 2024 to really interrupt when things start to get concentrated in terms of negative behavior or impacts that we really want to make sure is not happening in and around the Central District. Okay?
So
Safety and security, yep, and the budget language resolution gives us enough guidance, so it will be held, the dollars will be held in the Burlington Police Department, and then we'll continue to work together with council to define that per resolution. Okay, great. Thank you very much. We'll take anything else on the side. Okay, thanks all. Appreciate it. The two aren't necessarily linked together, and that's why we need a more comprehensive understanding of how we look at our housing challenges and our housing crisis. So I really want to make sure that we can start moving policies that make Vermont or Burlington more affordable, not just for homeowners, but also for renters. To do that requires charter changes, and I would like to explore what other communities have done to encourage landlords to actually stabilize rents at reasonable rates that don't go beyond inflation by perhaps exploring some sort of breaking of property taxes. That requires, though, a charter change. But that would help in one way stabilize rents for both more affordable.
I'm Charlotte. Good to meet you.
Yeah, City Violin.
Yeah, I'm a friend of Sophia's. So.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. Seems like a good school.
Yeah, they make it work.
There's a lot of bad stories in there.
Many affordable units as we want to be able to really work with developers who are committed to that value space and really knowing that we have to have sizes to meet the family sizes that many it's like an enormous size families that they have, but also the kind of affordability that we're really looking for both low and moderately. Is there a tool or like musical groups in the area to kind of let them know? Talk about how do we change federal policy, like change lab, like happen again. All right. Very level. Immigration policy. They're big farm and chaos.
I just want to I'm not sorry. I've always been a big supporter of yours.
Trying to give you enough context.
It's okay. But it's good that we could all talk still.
Always.
Before